Good morning, everyone. So, welcome to this video. So, in this video, we are going to discuss the location of genes inside the chromosome. So, before that, let us identify what is the deoxyribonucleic acid or the so-called DNA. So, take note that we can say that DNA is considered as the molecular blueprint of life because it contains all the necessary information that a particular organism has. So, it also contains a vast amount of information that controls the cell's internal functions and dictates the organism's physical characteristics. So that's why masasabi natin na kamukha mo yung parents mo dahil sa tinatawag nating DNA. Okay? So the genetic information contained in the DNA is also hereditary, meaning to say it can be passed through or it was passed by our parent. Okay? And transferable that can be accurately passed on from the generation to the next generation. So, to discuss further about DNA, DNA is compacted and packaged into structure called chromosome. Chromosome is very vital in the cell division because if a chromatin can we can find chromatin inside the nucleus. If a chromatin is condensed, it became a chromosome. So, dun sa chromatin na yon, meron yung tinatawag nating strands of DNA. So, para siyang buhok na magiging, yung DNA is parang buhok na magiging condensed na parang ganito. Okay? This is a chromosome. Okay? Now, to continue, the chromosome structure uh, is a pack of genetic material in is a pack of genetic material that contains the DNA. So, it also contains a certain protein helps in folding up the DNA structure. Okay, paano nga ba na-form yung chromosome? Bakit kaya from that of chromatin or itong DNA na to, paano nagiging chromosome? So, merong tumutulong na protein. Ang tawag sa protein na yon ay histone. Okay? So, this is a histone. Okay? So, yung double helix structure or yung DNA natin ay bumabalot sa histone na yan. Yung histone, yun yung protein. So, bakit kailangang ibalot? Para at least makondense, okay? Alam nyo ba yung parang ball thread para maging ganon, makondense sila or mapag-isa silang lahat? Okay? Kasi hindi maaaring mag-cell ay mag-divide ang cell kapag hindi nagkaroon ng condensed chromosome or chromosome. So, kailangan ng tinatawag nating histone para at least mabind yung DNA at maging chromosome. Okay? So, to continue, histone will group together forming nucleosome where DNA would uh, wound around twice. So basically, kapag yung DNA ay naibalot na doon sa mismong histone, yung protein na mismong iyon, ang magiging tawag na doon is nucleosome. Okay? So, para at least yung nucleosome mabind sa other nucleosome, kailangan ng tinatawag na linker DNA. So, nucleosome will be connected to each other by the linker DNA. So, like for example, so assume that a single strand of uh, what they call this, a ball thread is a single strand of a thread is a DNA. So yun mismo is the DNA. So kapag kasi ang DNA kalat-kalat, hindi siya maayos, so mahirap siyang mag-cell divide. So kailangan siyang mabalot muna or kailangan ma-condense or papag-isa dahil para mapag-isa yung yung tinatawag nating DNA, kailangan ng tinatawag natin na histone. At ang histone na yun ay yung protein na kung saan dun maibabalot yung strands at kapag naibalot na yun, ang tawag dun is nucleosome. Okay? So to continue, uh, nucleosome will then coil with each other forming a fiber. Okay? So magiging ganito na siya. So this is the strand of DNA. Yan na yung histone na tinatawag natin. So kapag nag-bind na yung histone at saka yung DNA, ang tawag dyan is nucleosome. So kapag kapag nag-coiled na silang lahat dahil sa DNA linker or binder natin, magiging coiled nucleosome na siya. Naintindihan? So, this fiber will further coil or fold around the protein scaffold to form a chromatin. Okay? Now, to continue, then the chromatin will continue to fold itself until it forms a chromosome. So basically, this is doon sa pinaka-edge ng ating chromosome, uh, doon mo makikita yung strands of DNA na may nakabalot na histone at saka coiled nucleosome. Okay, nandun na lahat yon. So, kapag ang chromosome is nakabind siya dun sa, ganito yung itsura niya, ang tawag dyan ay double-stranded chromosome. Dito naman, ang tawag dyan ay single-stranded chromosome. Now, let's talk about genes. So, basically, gene is the basic functional unit of heredity. Bakit functional unit? Because it contains all the information, okay? Genes are responsible for transmitting traits from the parents to offspring. So, lahat ng information lahat ng physical characteristics ng isang tao ay meron sa tinatawag na genes. Kung halimbawa pango ka, doon sa gene mo is merong strand doon or information doon na pango yung lolo mo or yung inyong ancestors. Okay? So, just like here in the Philippines, maraming mga tayo mismo is tayo mga Pilipino is mga pango, right? So, dahil sa pagsakop sa atin ng Amerika at saka Spanish, Americans at Spaniards, then dito na nakapag-asawa yung mga Spaniards. At yung mga Spaniards is, ang kanilang physical characteristics is matatangos, right? At pati din yung mga Americans, mapuputi. Now, kapag nakapag-asawa sila ng Pilipina, halimbawa, is yung genes na meron sa kanila is naipasa mismo sa kanilang mga anak. Kaya yung mga anak nila ay matatangos ang ilong. Kaya hanggang ngayon, is may nakikita tayo may mga matatangos ang ilong, may mapuputi, may mga maiitim dahil sa tinatawag nating genes. Kasi there are about 20,000 to 25,000 genes in the human body. So to continue, a gene is the actual segment of DNA which is specific nucleotide basis sequence that encodes the genetic information needed for the production of protein. So, dun mismo sa strand of DNA natin, may specific sequence doon na nag-e-encode ng ating traits. So, yung iba doon is nagke-create ng proteins kasi nga ang DNA nagke-create ng proteins na kailangan sa growth and development ng ating katawan. So, genes can be exposed by hundreds to thousands of nucleotides. Ano nga ba yung tinatawag nating nucleotides? It is a pair of compounds like for example the nitrogenous bases, the phosphate, and the ribose sugar that encodes the totality of the structure of the genes. Okay? Now, genes are organized in linear and specific order along the length of the DNA strand. So this is the DNA strand. So this is a double helix structure that is complementary to its pair. Okay? So meron tayong uh, meron tayong two lines of double helix. Ito is a single helix structure and ito naman yung isang helix structure. So kapag pinag-combine mo yung isa, meron kasing specific protein doon or nitrogenous base na nang babind sa kanila, yung tinatawag nating adenine at So, nagbabind yung DNA sa tinatawag nating nitrogenous bases. But we're not going to dig on that. So, uh, dito natin matatagpuan yung genes na tinatawag natin. Okay? So, dun sa genes, may mga specific nitrogenous bases na nag-e-encode sa general characteristic ng isang human. Kung halimbawa dito is may protein dito na nagsasabing ikaw ay maputi, maaaring later yung magiging anak mo ay maputi. Okay? So, to continue, they can also be located in the specific location of the chromosome made possible by the systematic packaging mechanism of the cell to condense DNA in a chromosome. So basically, locus is the location of genes. Okay? Loci is a plural form for location. So, dito, sa part ng chromosome, dito matatagpuan natin yung traits or yung genes na later is uh, madadala nila kapag ka nagkaroon na sila ng cell division. Okay? So, remember that the gene is the actual unit of heredity that dictates the organism's specific traits like flower color or seed shape. A specific locus on the chromosome determines specific traits. Okay? Now, chromosomes are the actual structure that separate and segregate during meiosis division. They carry genes along the process and gives ways to traits to be transferred, segregated, and assorted inheritedly. Okay? During meiosis kasi, ang nangyayari is nagkakaroon ng tinatawag nating variation. So, kapag halimbawa, nagkaroon ng variation, nagkakaroon ng pagpapalitan or pagmimix ng mga genes sa ibang klase ng genes. So, halimbawa nito is kapag ka nag-mate yung mama at papa mo at yung mga genes na meron sa kanila is pinagsama, maaaring ang magiging offspring nila is it is the combination of the physical characteristics of the female and male or yung papa at mama mo na sa'yo is nakikita. Okay? Now, in summary, uh, makikita natin ang gene sa tinatawag na DNA. Okay? Doon sa mismong gene, doon naka-encode yung traits na, or yung physical or genetic traits na meron sa isang tao. So, ang DNA, it is a double-stranded, uh, double helix structure whereas it contains the genes or the genome. Okay? So, in order to at least in order to pass the genes from the parent to the offspring, kailangan ng cell division. Okay? Para magkaroon ng cell division, yung chromatin dito or yung DNA kailangan niyang maging chromosome. Okay? So, ang gagawin ng DNA is magbabind siya sa tinatawag nating histone. Okay? Yung histone, it is a protein. So, yung protein na ito, kapag na-bind na doon yung tinatawag nating DNA, ang tawag dyan is nucleosome. At kapag yung nucleosome, nag-bind siya again sa other nucleosome, ang tawag doon ay coiled nucleosome. At yung coiled nucleosome, ang magiging katawagan na natin doon ay chromatin. So kapag yung chromatin at naging grupo ulit sila, magkakaroon na ngayon ng tinatawag na chromosome. Yan yung structure niya, yung X-like structure. At yung chromosome, later, kailangan for the cell division. Okay? So, inuulit ko, inside the chromosome, meron tayong chromatin. Sa chromatin, meron tayong histone and DNA. Dun sa may histone and DNA, dun sa may histone, it is a protein, and sa DNA, it contains the genes. Okay? To further summarize, genes are actual functional unit of heredity because It encodes the total characteristics or the physical and genetic attributes of a particular organism. So genes are arranged in the linear manner in the DNA, occupying a specific location along the strand. So meron lamang silang specific location. Other location of the DNA encodes for the different protein which is needed by our body. So the systematic packaging of DNA make it possible for particular genes to be located on each chromosome. So basically, in meiosis or the cell division, there is so-called variation, whereas there is the recombination or the uh, exchange of physical and genetic attributes of the genes. Okay, so the location of the gene in the chromosome is called locus. Kapag ka naman plural siya, is it is so called as loci. So that ends my presentation today, and thank you very much for listening.